Hello, my friends. I am tonight's entertainment, Jake Jones. This is Jake Jones Comedy. I bet you're subscribed to this channel because you may have been wondering, well, where the hell is the comedy? Well, voila, here we go, fuckers. What better way to kick off the new year than by going over one of my favorite things, the horrible world of stand-up comedy. And as you can see, I drew a little picture of a stick figure and a sea of nobodies, and one of them saying, "Hey, that's not funny." Because, there's always a few of those guys. Today, I just want to go over some basic pointers. I know this is not the best lighting. I know it's maybe not the best recording, but fuck it. We're going to see how this video comes out. I appreciate you all tuning in to subscribe. Now, let's get down to brass tacks. If you want to know how to make it in this business, I'm just going to give you some very simple principles. Get out your notepad and pen. I highly encourage this. And come back to this video anytime you feel like it if this is a career path that you are genuinely considering. Or if you just want to do it like I did it for the love of the game. Maybe it's not going to be your main career. But there are plenty of different ways to play this out. Let's go over them one at a time. So the word that we're going to be talking about today is iterant. I-T-E-R-A-N-T. The first thing I want you to understand about stand-up comedy is that it is an iterant behavior. What does the word iterant mean? Iterant means repetition. This is a behavior based on repetition. Like everything else, it's a habit. Now, I made this a weekly habit. Sometimes bi-weekly, but mainly weekly. And I made some mistakes along the way that I'm also going to talk about. Maybe in this video, maybe in a future video. We will see. But the point I want you to get across is that when you get on stage, most people who go on stage, they only do it one or two times. And, they get discouraged. And they think that just because they bombed a couple of times or whatever, they didn't get the response that they wanted, that they must be no good. Well, that's not true. Unfortunately, that's the way the majority of human beings are conditioned to think. And before I move on to the technique and strategy, you must capitalize this, write this down in all caps, and highlight it if you have highlighters. I want you to write down this word, and I want you to drill this word into your fucking noggin. Excuse me, I tend to curse a lot. That's just my stilo. You dig? If you want to work clean, you should also, well, I'll get to that. Sorry, guys. This is my first time with the whiteboard. It's my first time! By the way, never say that. If you're going to say it's your first time on stage, don't say it's your first time. Say it's your second time. That'll get a better response. Probably. I don't know. Who the fuck knows? Now, write this word down. This is really the key to anything I've found in life. Success or failure. Fucking thing. Alright, I'm going to have to use a different marker, but you get the idea. The word is persistence. I want you to keep this word in your mind as we go over each of these points. The first thing you do when you want to study anything, right? Most people don't do this. They want the thing, but they don't really want to be good at it. If you want to get good at this, study the craft. There are three ways of studying. One is books. I recommend Kindle Unlimited. The book that I read is called How to Kill in Comedy. The book I read is How to Kill in Comedy by Frank North. Okay? That's not the only book I read, but that's the major one when it comes to this. Now, the way that I originally wanted to do comedy, of course, was by studying the greats. I had the distinct privilege of being mentored by the great Doug Stanhope. Some of you will be familiar with his work. Most of you won't, probably, but that's okay. He is one of the best low-key comedians in the United States, as far as I know. But But I also watched a lot of other stand-up, all the greats, you name them, you know them. So you just want to fill your head with their styles as well, as much as you can. Because why would you do this if you didn't have a passion for it in the first place, right? So there's two ways of doing it, but of course, the third and most important way is just by doing it. But what you're doing by study is you're laying the groundwork and you're opening your mind to the possibility of continuing education. You are never the master. You are always the student. Now, point number 2. Form a time frame. So, when I first started out, I made the definite decision. I had a definite and irrevocable plan that I was going to go 6 full months minimum every single week, and I was going to do a new set every single week. So by the time I hit 20 weeks, I had already basically done a 60-minute comedy special in my mind. It wasn't recorded, fortunately, because I don't know, I can't speak to the quality, but I did succeed at that much. So this is where I'm at. Most people don't even get to this point because they're relying on the same hack premises over and over again. So, point number 3, always be original. Use everything. Now, some comedians, and I won't disclose any names, but they will basically believe that the most important thing about this craft is getting booked. And if you're still in that mindset, then that's what it's going to be for you. It is a nighttime job, predominantly, with very few exceptions. So, and it is a public speaking job, and mostly the reputation is that it doesn't pay very well. That's a lie, of course. There are plenty of comics who get paid very well. They do corporate gigs, they do middle gigs, they do whatever they want, basically. They do their cousin's barbecue, whatever. So you have options. I want you to know that so that you will never lose hope. Options create hope. Y'all should be writing all this down. I'm sorry my handwriting is not quite up to par just because I don't know if you can tell, I'm just seething with excitement right now. I'm going to use an old gym sock to clean this because I don't want my markers getting wet. That's the only thing that's getting wet tonight, if you get my drift. I told you I was dirty, and I cannot stress this enough. Bombing is never okay. There's going to be a lot of people who, out of perhaps jealousy or perhaps just basic human decency, will try and convey the point that bombing is okay. That's wrong. That goes against the whole point of being a comedian. If you're not making people laugh, then you're not doing your job correctly. And that's not a put down. Everybody poops, everybody bombs, right? So many people who do it, who make this ritual into a routine, they think that it's actually okay to be shit, to suck at it. This is what's going to take you away from the open mics, to the extent that you can get away from them, and into whatever it is you're trying to get to. Your goal, which I've already discussed. Have a definite plan. Have a time frame. Decide how many nights per week you're going to dedicate to the exercise of this craft, as well as reading about it, and simply the writing process. Now, another component to this is, number 5, rehearsal. So, I do this in a variety of ways. Before I go up on stage, I will review the key points in my head. I don't do usually this very stilted, this wooden rehearsal style. Some people really dig that. It's really up to you. However, I will say that a good point of reference is to record your audio. Speak the joke after you write it. Speak the joke after you write it. Because when you say it, it's just going to sound naturally different. And this is where you get into the business of subtracting words. This is not a flowery medium. When you use a fancy $4 word, people are going to notice it. But if you use too many of them, they're not going to know what the fuck you're saying or what point you're going to try to convey. So you've got to get right to the point as quickly as possible. I believe Seinfeld said 10 seconds or under, unless you have that deep of a bit but I wouldn't even play with that until you've done it consistently for at least 6 months to a year. Point number 6. The crowd doesn't know what's funny. This is a dictatorship. I want you to know that when you do your time on stage, you be respectful of everybody's time. You never go over the limit. In fact, I should put that down as number 7. Never go over your time. A lot of people don't get that one. They think they can just camp out for another hour and a half. Or another minute and a half, but it feels like an hour and a half, right? Because they're not funny. The crowd doesn't know what's funny. So what I mean by this is, we're talking about the crowd. They could be comics, they could be wannabe comics, they could be doing the open mics, whatever. Okay? A person is a person. They're unique in their own way, just as you would like to be viewed, right? So, but the crowd, this is where it gets interesting. Democracy cannot function without leaders. We see this proven time and time again. So anybody who tells you that what the crowd thinks matters, they're only going based on who they allow to lead their way of thinking. In reality, we need people like you watching this video. If you're going to do this, we need you to be an influencer. We need you to be a thought leader. Now, one of the exercises that you can do to maintain your positive mental attitude, right? I mean, this is actually life goals here. This really has nothing to do with comedy, but at the same time, it has everything to do with comedy. Positive mental attitude. Now, and how does this work in comedy, in show business? Basically, if you were raised right, and if you weren't, then I'm going to teach you today, okay? You smile and say thank you, even if the people are dicks. You smile and say thank you, even when people are dicks. Now, this comes back to valuing time. Some people, unfortunately, they be like, when I say something, when I show my appreciation and I express it openly, it works great on the crowd. This is something that you must do at the end of all of your sets. At the end of the beginning and end of your sets, you smile and say thank you. It is so fucking simple. Guys, it is so simple, but it'll change your entire sets. It'll completely alter your way of thinking. Now, when you're off stage, it's a different story. Some people will try to come up to you and be like, you're doing this wrong, you're never gonna blah, blah, blah. There's just negative energy, right? What you would do in this situation is exactly the same thing. You smile and say thank you, which, funnily enough, pisses them off even more and sends them into a demented spiral, which is hilarious to watch. Okay, this one's going to be a little controversial. Or fuck it, I'll just zoom in on it, if anything. Number 8. Don't ask for shit. Your main concern as a comedian should be getting good and learning as much as you can. Your main concern should not be the money. The money is the last thing that should be on your mind when you commit to anything. Now you can ask, but here's my philosophy, right? And this is based on actual experience. When I began focusing on the money, that's when the problem started. But when I focused entirely on the service and making people laugh, the money just came right into my pocket with hardly any questions asked. So when you are a service-based comic in any scenario, when you just say, hey, you got this amount of time, let's do it. When you open up your schedule like that, I mean, the money will come right away. I mean, this is just a basic law of economics. The law of economics clearly states that your profit and return on investment will be in exact proportion to your quality and quantity of service. The law of economics, also known as the law of reciprocity. Get this down, guys, because I'm telling you, this is gold bars right here I'm spitting, dog. Like, you cannot make this shit up. These are just... Like, I know this shit works, motherfucker. I'm going to go into further detail in future videos, but this is what it is. So that's why I say don't ask for shit. It's not because you can't ask for shit, but I just think you don't have to ask for shit, because what's even the point of that? Then you're not the baddest motherfucker in the room. The king, you don't see the king ask for shit, right? The king is a king. People serve him. Why? Because he understands the laws. It's that simple. Okay, number 9. Play my records backwards and see what you find. No, I'm kidding. If anybody wants to do that, though, by the way, my new album, Sprezzatura, is available on all platforms. That's the only plug I have right now other than my fucking channel. So, and by the way, guys, those streaming numbers, we're doing excellent work on them. Shout out to all my fam on that side of the biz. You know who you are. I want to thank you all for watching, too. I really appreciate it. Instead of, jacking off or smoking weed. You can do that, too. I mean, be my guest, but... Write this down. Number 9. Keep it moving. This again has to do with another law of the universe. It's a Newtonian law. You may have heard this. Objects in motion tend to stay in motion. Also known as inertia. So when you're on stage, right? When you're holding the microphone, you want to be agile. You want to be mobile. When you're acting out a scene, you kind of just want to almost dance with the crowd, right? And this kills the ladies, by the way. It's the classic Elvis trick. When you move your hips a little bit, it's all in the hips. Yeah, it's all in the hips. Like, what was that movie where I got that from? The Chubbs, whatever his fucking name was. He's right. Like, this is how it works. This is just how crowd psychology works. You want to say things in a loud, positive tone of voice like I'm doing. And luckily, guys, I have had plenty of years of training on this channel doing just that, preparing. This was all prep work, guys. If you look back at my channel, you will see the difference, like the growth. It's just all preparation, all of it. It's all preparation and practice. So don't get discouraged by what other motherfuckers have to say about your style, bro. It's your fucking style. And as I said, go back to the first rule. This is not democracy. This is a dictatorship, cocksucker. You are a dictator. You decide what is funny. And that's the point. When you hire a plumber, right? You don't start knowing suddenly more shit than the plumber, because you would trust, ideally, that the plumber knows how to do his job. He has an expertise in that subject. Otherwise, why the fuck would you hire him in the first place, him or her? It's the same with a doctor or a lawyer, and unfortunately, comedy is one of those things where just people are open to it. It is the most quote-unquote democratic medium, which is why I say you have to take it in bits and pieces. You have to know what you want out of it. Otherwise, you're just going to be food for the sharks. You're going to be shark bait. Now, here's another rule. And these aren't really rules, by the way. This is just how I view the shit. Because a real anarchist would say there are no rules, no masters, right? There are no rules, correct, but there are laws. Now, over here, you have a fictional self, right? AKA a character. This is your onstage persona. And if you don't understand, listen to this, if you don't understand the ramifications and limits of your onstage persona, there's a very high chance that that's going to bleed into your personal life. And you do not want that. You want to be the persona and keep it strictly on the stage. Because if that bleeds over here, people are going to think you're a lunatic. Which, hey, if you're fine with that, go for it. I mean, some of the greats, they have to be like that. I mean, but I've made this mistake too, guys. And the mistake can be off-putting to certain people. Now, is there any risk if you know the laws, if you know your business? This should be of no concern to you. But I'm just putting it out there as a subtle warning. The way I get around this is fucking shitty-ass marker. Okay. Do the jokes and go home. Now, another thing that I'm going to note, I'm not even going to write it down because y'all should really, any responsible adult is going to know this one, but if you drink or do drugs, don't do them before you perform, ideally, because then that's going to make you reliant on them. Now you're chasing two dragons at the same fucking time, and that's not, come on, man. I believe in you. I believe that you and I both can keep our vices to a minimum when we're entering this realm, the responsibility of giving people joy. And yes, don't delude yourself. That is a responsibility of this profession. It is the main goal. Don't let anyone fucking tell you otherwise. It's not about the money. It's not about buying mama a crib or getting a Maserati or whatever fucking Andrew Tate fucking tells you should have. Okay? It's not about selling out MSG and you know, whatever your fucking dream is, okay? Now there are two more rules that I'm going to go over. I think 13 should cut it. 13's a good number. That's my lucky number. Number 13, pay attention to your appearance. Obviously, people judge by appearances off the bat. I try not to, but I'm not going to lie. I fucking do this too, obviously. What I do often is, because I like to have a wide variety of clothes in my wardrobe, so sometimes I'll kind of come in looking like a bum, and sometimes I'll dress real fly, just depending on the venue. And I would also argue that to expand your venues as well. Don't get too hooked onto one venue or one city even if you like traveling as much as I do. I like travel. It's like, yeah, basic bitch shit. Big surprise. What was the last one? And this is the most important rule, guys. I kind of already went over this, but I just want to rephrase it for y'all bitch-made ass bitch comics out there who think that there's such a thing as something for nothing and that you can just come to people's houses and all this fucking weird shit, bro. Like, for real, dog? Anyway. Hey, I got anger problems, yo. So, don't come knocking if you don't know what time it is. You dig what I'm saying? That's all I'm going to say about that. Number 12. I'm going to write this one in fancy so that you peasants will be really shocked and awed by it. Give it all you got and then some. Give it all you got and then some. That's about all I can say about that, you know. My pops always used to say, give it 110%. You know? Finish what you started. Just basic shit like that. Have a plan, and then this is the spiritual level of execution that I want you guys to reach. And it's not as hard as it looks. I'm going to tell you that. If you can carry yourself with that positive mindset that we went over earlier, that grace, that elegant situation that you always find yourself in, right? This will just come naturally. But it does require a certain level of discipline, patience, and persistence to even get these thoughts into your noggin. That's why I'm doing this video too, so I can remind myself, so I can be a better comic, so I can be a better human being. That's where I'm at right now, folks. You know, because I want shit. I act like I don't, but I fucking do, you know? And a lot of people want to be comedians. I know that. For some odd reason, everybody wants to be a fucking comedian to, like, prove their parents wrong or whatever. But they want to do it for all the wrong reasons. For all the wrong fucking reasons. So I'm giving you these pointers so you can really examine them and understand why you do what you do. And, damn, I should have fucking gone over this, but I'll go over them real quick. We started with the word persistence. Study the craft, read the book How to Kill in Comedy, which I highly recommend. Form a time frame, have a definite plan. Switch up your wardrobe. Bombing is never okay. Respect people's time. So if you're going over, just abort, get the fuck off the stage, go home, rewrite. You can record your jokes, meaning speak them. You don't necessarily have to record them, but at least speak them after you write them so that you can get that in your head over and over again. This is repetition, guys. That word, I forgot it already, but you can skip back to it. Give it all you got and then some. Smile and say thank you. Fuck the crowd. Yep. Let me know if I missed anything, guys. If you're a comedian watching this, I really appreciate you as much as anyone tuning in and giving in your 2 cents. Your pittance for whatever it's worth. And Happy New Year, motherfuckers. This is Jake Jones Comedy. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe. And if you'd like to book a one-on-one call with me, yeah, we're doing that. Yeah, we getting that. We getting them shekels, boys. If you want to do that, of course, I'm always available on a rotating schedule. You can work something out. Click the link down below. I appreciate you guys very much. Love you. Clowns, lots and lots.